Hello and welcome to the Everyday English Lounge. My name is Ralph and I'm here with my wonderful co-host Chloe.
Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here. Today, we have a very useful topic for you. We are going to talk all about tech troubles and how to fix phone issues with support calls.
But before we dive in, Chloe, how was your morning? Did you have a good breakfast?
Oh, thank you for asking, Ralph. I had a lovely breakfast, actually. I made myself some scrambled eggs and toast. Nothing fancy, but it was delicious. How about you? How's your day been so far?
My day's been great, thanks. I actually skipped breakfast this morning. Just had a quick coffee. I know, not the healthiest choice. But I've been dealing with my own tech trouble this morning, which actually relates perfectly to today's topic.
Oh no, what happened?
My phone froze completely. I couldn't do anything. The screen just wouldn't respond. So I had to call technical support. And that's exactly what we're going to help our listeners with today.
Perfect timing then. Calling tech support can be really stressful, especially if English isn't your first language. There's so much technical vocabulary, and sometimes the solutions sound complicated.
Absolutely. So today we're going to break it all down for you. We'll teach you the essential phrases, the common problems you might face with your phone, and how to explain these problems clearly to a support agent.
Right, so let's start with the basics. Ralph, what are some common phone problems that people experience?
Great question. Let's list a few. First, there's the frozen screen. That's when your phone stops responding to touch. Then there's battery drain, which means your battery dies very quickly. You might also experience app crashes. That's when an application closes unexpectedly.
Yes, and don't forget connection issues. This could be problems with Wi-Fi, mobile data, or Bluetooth. Another common one is slow performance. Your phone just runs very slowly.
Exactly. Now, when you call tech support, the first thing you need to do is explain your problem clearly. Let's practice some useful phrases. Chloe, can you give us an example?
Of course. You could say, "Hello, I'm calling because I'm having trouble with my phone. My screen is frozen and won't respond to touch." Notice how I stated the problem clearly and specifically?
Perfect example. Another way to say this is, "Hi, I need help with my device. My battery drains very quickly, even when I'm not using it." The key is to be specific about what's happening.
That's such an important point, Ralph. Being specific really helps the support agent understand your issue. Now, what happens next? Usually the support agent will ask you some questions, right?
Exactly. They need more information to help you. Common questions include, when did this problem start? Or how often does this happen? They might also ask, have you installed any new apps recently? Or have you updated your operating system?
Let me give our listeners some sample answers. If they ask when it started, you could say, "It started yesterday evening," or "This has been happening for the past 3 days." For frequency, you might say, "It happens every time I try to use this app," or "It occurs randomly throughout the day."
Great examples. Now, let's talk about some technical terms you might hear during the call. Chloe, what's restarting or rebooting?
Good one to start with. Restart or reboot means to turn your phone completely off and then turn it back on again. The support agent might say, "Please restart your device." This is usually the first solution they suggest because it fixes many problems.
And it's so simple. Here's another common instruction. Clear the cache. The cache is temporary data stored by apps. Clearing it can help if an app is running slowly or crashing.
Right, the agent might say, "Go to Settings, then Apps, select the app that's causing problems, and tap Clear Cache." Don't worry if this sounds complicated. They'll guide you step by step.
Speaking of step by step, that brings us to an important phrase. Could you please repeat that? Or could you say that more slowly? Don't be afraid to ask the agent to repeat instructions.
Absolutely, that's such valuable advice. You could also say, "I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that," or "Could you explain that in simpler terms, please?" Good support agents will be happy to help.
Now, let's talk about a common solution. Factory reset. This is a more serious step. It means resetting your phone to its original settings, like when you first bought it. But warning, this deletes all your data.
Yes, so before doing a factory reset, make sure you back up your data. You might ask the agent, "Will this delete my photos and contacts?" Or "Do I need to back up my data first?"
Excellent point. Here's another term, software update or system update. Sometimes phone problems happen because your software is outdated. The agent might ask, is your phone running the latest software version?
And how would you check that, Ralph?
You'd usually go to Settings, then look for About Phone or Software Update. The exact location depends on whether you have an iPhone or an Android device.
Good explanation. Now, what if the support agent needs to access your phone remotely? They might say, I need to connect to your device remotely. This is called remote access.
Right. They might ask you to download a special app or give you a code to enter. You could ask, is this safe? Or what exactly will you be able to see on my phone? It's okay to ask these questions.
Definitely. Now, let's practice a complete conversation. Ralph, would you like to play the customer and I'll be the support agent?
Sure, let me get into character here. Hello, I'm calling because my phone keeps restarting by itself. It happens several times a day.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'll be happy to help you fix this issue. Can you tell me when this problem started?
It started about 4 days ago. At first, it only happened once or twice, but now it's getting worse.
I understand. Have you installed any new applications recently or updated your phone's software?
Yes, actually. I updated my phone about a week ago. Could that be the problem?
It's possible. Sometimes updates can cause compatibility issues. Let's try a few things. First, can you restart your phone and see if that helps?
Okay, I'll try that. Should I turn it off completely?
Yes, please. Turn it off, wait about 30 seconds, then turn it back on. Let me know once you've done that.
Perfect. See how that conversation flowed naturally? The customer explained the problem clearly and the agent asked helpful questions.
Exactly. And notice how the customer wasn't afraid to ask questions like, could that be the problem? Or should I turn it off completely? Asking questions shows you're engaged and want to understand the solution.
Now, what if the problem isn't solved after the first solution? You might say, I tried that, but it's still not working. Or the problem is still occurring.
Good point. The agent will then move to the next solution. They might say, all right, let's try something else, or let me suggest another approach.
Here's an important phrase for taking notes. Could you email me these instructions, or is there a guide I can read? Many support calls end with the agent sending you written instructions.
That's so helpful. And before you end the call, make sure to ask, is there anything else I should do? Or what should I do if the problem comes back?
Yes, and don't forget to get a reference number. You could say, can I have a reference number for this call? This is useful if you need to call back about the same issue.
Great advice. Now, Ralph, you mentioned having a frozen screen this morning. How did you fix it?
Well, I called support and they walked me through something called a forced restart. For my phone, I had to press and hold specific buttons together. It's different from a regular restart and it worked like magic.
That's wonderful. And that's exactly why these support calls are so valuable. Sometimes we need expert help to fix tricky problems.
Absolutely. Now, let's quickly review some polite phrases you can use throughout the call. You might say, thank you for your patience, or I appreciate your help with this.
And at the end of the call, thank you so much for your assistance, or you've been very helpful. Have a great day.
Being polite makes the whole experience better for everyone. Remember, support agents are there to help you, so treat them with respect and they'll do their best to solve your problem.
Now, what if you're calling about a problem with your warranty? You might need to say, my phone is still under warranty, or I bought this phone 3 months ago.
Good addition. You might also need your purchase information. The agent could ask, do you have your receipt? Or what's your order number?
Another useful question is about repair or replacement. You could ask, can this be repaired, or will I need a replacement phone?
And if they mention sending your phone in for repair, you might ask, how long will the repair take? Or will you provide a temporary phone while mine is being repaired?
These are all really practical questions. Now, before we wrap up, let's give our listeners some final tips. Ralph, what's your number one tip?
I'd say be patient and don't get frustrated. Tech problems are stressful, but staying calm helps you explain the issue clearly and understand the solution better.
Excellent advice. My tip would be have your phone information ready before you call. Know your model number, operating system version, and when you bought the phone. This saves time.
Also, if possible, have a pen and paper ready to write down important steps or information. Or you could use another device to take notes.
And remember, it's completely okay to ask the agent to slow down or explain something differently. That's what they're there for.
So true. Well, I think we've covered everything our listeners need to know about handling tech support calls in English.
I hope everyone feels more confident now. Remember, practice makes perfect. Even if you feel nervous the first time, it gets easier with each call.
Before we finish, Chloe, what are you planning for lunch today?
Oh, I'm thinking of making a nice salad, something light and healthy. What about you, Ralph? Are you going to actually eat a proper meal this time?
Yes, I promise I'll have a proper meal. Maybe a sandwich or some pasta. I've learned my lesson about skipping meals.
Good. We need to take care of ourselves, especially when dealing with tech troubles.
Absolutely. Well, dear listeners, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us at the Everyday English Lounge.
Remember to practice the phrases we discussed today. Write them down, say them out loud, and you'll feel confident the next time you need to call tech support.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends who are learning English. And if you have any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, let us know.
Stay curious, keep practicing, and don't let tech troubles get you down.
Until next time, happy learning.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.